Okay, there was a question about how many MCQs from unit number 1 would come, right? So if you see the latest papers, right, 2019, 2021, 22, from unit number 1, there have been only around 4 MCQs, right? So I am guessing in your year also, it will be close to 4. Maybe can be one more or one less, maybe 5, maybe 3, but ideal quantity is around, we're looking at 4 MCQs from unit number 1. So 4 MCQs is 8 marks. You get one essay question, that's 20 marks. So in total, you're looking at around 28 marks from unit number 1 alone in your paper, right? So we'll quickly do 2021 and 2022, right? The more complete short definition of economics would be that economics is the study of what? How employment opportunities in the society could be created, how countries trade goods and services, how goods and services are produced without damaging the environment, how unlimited resources are allocated among limited bonds, how scarce resources are allocated to satisfy unlimited bonds. Because what is economics studying? Economics is studying about how do we use our limited resources to satisfy our unlimited bonds, right? The answer is the 5th one. Now, the 4th one looks correct, but see, in the 4th one, they say limited bonds, unlimited resources. They're saying the other side, right? So be very careful when you all pick answers. Don't just jump and go, limited resources, this is there, right? No, right? So be very careful. What is limited? What is unlimited? They will highlight that in the question. Easy one. Then we go to the next. Production possibility frontiers are linear because we discussed. What is the first thing that has to come to your mind, guys? When PPCs are linear, what's the first thing that has to come to your mind? We're talking about what opportunity cost? A linear PPC we're talking about? We're talking about constant opportunity cost, right? When you think about constant opportunity cost, what else should come to your mind? What can tell about the resources? Resources are what? Homogeneous resources. What can you tell about the resources efficient for one industry? Are they efficient for the other industry also? Yes. Resources efficient in one industry, are they efficient? Yes. What can you tell about the production technology? Are they similar? Somewhat similar. Right. So these things have to come into your mind, right? The moment they say linear PPC or constant opportunity cost, those points have to come. If that comes into your mind, answers are simple, right? See, resources are being used fully and efficiently. That is not the reason why you have linear PPC, bro. Because of law of increasing increasing opportunity cost, you will have a concave PPC like that, right? Because of inefficiencies in the economy. No. Because of constant opportunity cost, right? Because of constant opportunity cost, what do you have? You have a linear PPC. In other words, you have a straight line PPC. Non-homogeneous? No. Non-homogeneous comes under increasing opportunity cost, right? Easy one. Done. Then we go to the next, right? Which of the following is a fundamental feature of a free market economy, right? Fundamental again means main feature of a free market economy. Think it's very easy, guys. These are, what can I say? Strict government control of production, more imports than exports, public ownership. That means the government, guys, remember, public doesn't mean general public. Public means government, right? Public ownership of resources, private property, prices and wages set by the government. What do you all think? Fundamental key feature of a market economic system. Answer is the 4th one, right? Private property. What is private property? Property here means resources, that is land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. What does private property mean? Private property means it's the private sector, that is households and firms. They are the ones who own the property in the economy. They are the ones who own the land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, and they are the ones who make decisions according to that. That is what private property is about. all the other features are from a command economy, right? Strict government control, more imports, exports, that's not really a feature of any economy, right? Public ownership, command economy, prices and wages set by the government, again, command or a planned economy. Okay, done. Then we go to the next. Right. Question 4. This is a good question, right? A question that there was a debate, right? I also feel that the answer maybe can be different, right? Which of the following is not a benefit of division of labor? Now, what is division of labor, guys? Division of labor is where you break down the production process into small parts. Now, if you take a garment factory, right, you break it down. The cutting department, sewing department, packaging department, ironing department, right? You break down the entire production process of making clothes into small parts, right? That is what you call division of labor, breaking down the production process into very small parts, right? So when you do that, what happens, guys? The efficiency levels improve, right? People become specialized, right? Every day I'm cutting. Now I'm very fast at cutting, right? So my productivity and efficiency levels goes up, right? I can produce things much faster. So that means there is not much of a wastage that is happening also, because I'm expert at cutting now. One person is expert at packaging, right? So then cost will come down because people are faster, they produce more. So costs come down, productivity levels improve, right? All of that is there, right? Efficiency means zero mistakes, kind of, right? Where you're very fast. That is what efficiency is. Yes, wastage also you can come take it into that. Okay. So what do you think is not a benefit of division of labor? Which one? Increase flexibility of the workforce, right? Okay, we'll go with some easy answers, right? Reduce the total cost. What do you think, guys? Because of division of labor, I said, people become very fast, they become very efficient, right? They can produce quickly. Do you think the total cost would reduce therefore? Can reduce, no, guys, right? Because wastage is less, people are now specialized in what they do, right? The total cost can go down, right? So this can be a benefit, right? So we'll just mark this, right? This can be a benefit. Okay. Increase productivity. Productivity means like, the amount of output that can be generated from an input. So that means you're much more faster, right? And all of it. Do you think that can happen because of division of labor? Can a person be much more faster and quicker and all? Yeah, no, can, right? Productivity can also improve, right? What do you think about this, guys? Increased ability to introduce innovation. Now that is right. I don't know, how do we even figure that out, right? So then there is something called increased income equality, right? Then there is something called increased flexibility of the workforce. Now see, two answers, these were obvious. Now these were tricky MCQ. Huh? Now answer number 2 and 3, right? They are benefits. Now answer number 1, 4 and 5, we don't know, right? They are saying division of labor and then they are saying some innovation nonsense. They are saying division of labor and they are saying income equality. They are saying division of labor and they are talking about flexibility of workforce, right? So they ask me the following is not a benefit, right? So the moment I saw this question, I felt it was answer number 1, right? I felt what is not a benefit of division of labor, I felt was answer number 1. But if I'm not mistaken, the marking scheme for that year said answer number 5. Can you all also just please check your thing? I don't know if I refer to the wrong marking scheme. Can you all check whatever past paper book or anything that you all have? Is it talking about answer number 5? I refer to the original marking scheme, right? I don't think that is wrong, right? The original marking scheme says, right, number 5. Yeah. Can someone else also confirm? This is what it says, right? It says increased income equality is not a benefit of division of labor. Okay. So now again, guys, this is again a question that is debatable, right? So now let's think, right? Now these are things that the examiner thinks in a different way, right? So let me try to cut off the other two answers. Let me tell you maybe why not 1 and 4 then, right? So increase ability to introduce innovation. Okay. We can argue this in different ways, right? I'll just think of now. I'm not saying that this is the only way that you can argue, right? I'll say that you can argue this in different ways, right? Can you tell me, because of division of labor, right, what happens to your cost? What happens to your cost? Your cost goes up or goes down? Your cost decreases, right? When your cost decreases, can you tell me what happens to your profits? Profits increases, right? Profits increase, right? Profits increase. The more and more profits that a company is making, what can it do, guys? More and more profit a company makes, it can invest in what? It can invest in research and development, right? Now, if you look at companies like Apple, right, they put so much of money into R&D, right, to come up with a better camera, to come up with, let's say, a touch screen, whatever, right, to come up with, let's say, 3D touch, to come up with, I don't know, some motion graphic, right? So the more profits you make, you can invest a lot in research and development. But if you look at a company that is not making much profit, what research and development for them, no? Right? So more research and development, what can you tell about innovation? What can you tell about innovation? Innovation, there is more ability for it to increase, right? New innovations can come, right? There is a positive impact on innovation. So you can argue it that way, right? Some person said labor can't come up with innovation, but they are not saying that, they are not asking what is not a benefit of division of labor for labor. No, they are saying just they are asking, right? So profits increase, so can introduce innovation. Exactly, right? That's what I'm also saying, right? So therefore, you can say that this is also correct. But these are things, guys, it's very, on the day of the exam, whether you will remember these is a little tricky, right? So every paper, guys, you will have one or two tricky MCQs, right? This is one of them. So is that clear, guys? How can division of labor help with innovation? Is that fine? Yes. Division of labor helping out with innovation. So then we can cut off answer number 4, no, guys. Yeah, so when they, okay, so when profits increase, right, either you will come up with introducing R&D, or you will either at least invest, right? You will invest in maybe a new machine. You will come up with a new factory. So all of it leads to some sort of an innovation, right? Some sort of a new thing that is coming into play, right? Can we take like this? By division of labor, the workers do the same work at longer time. So his thinking, having, and the work increases. Therefore, he can make innovation. Yes, you can think of exactly. Okay, you can put it in this way, right? So, okay, another way that I can put this out, right? Good, right? One person pointed it out. So what you can say is, when you are doing division of labor, right? What happens? It leads to what, guys? Division of labor leads to what? When a person is doing a small task every single day over and over and over again, what does that lead to? It leads to specialization, right? He becomes specialized in that. Yes, he might get tired of it also, bored of it also, but it leads to specialization, right? Now, when one person is specialized in something, right, he is the expert at doing that, no? So then what happens, guys? He might now think of more ways of doing it, right? He might now think of, faster ways of getting it done. So maybe that employee itself can introduce some sort of innovation, right? He can itself introduce innovation. Now, for example, let's say, right, I have been teaching economics for the last 5 years. Now I know the syllabus in and out, right? So now I'm trying to, do something new, right? Now, for example, let's say, okay, this YouTube thing, right? Now I do this class, I upload the recordings on YouTube, okay? So that kind of thing, right? Some sort of innovation, no? Maybe not every teacher might put their recordings on YouTube. So I am trying to do that. Why? Maybe now I'm really good at the subject. I don't really care whether other teachers come and listen to my explanation. No, whether even people come and learn for free. That's all right for me, right? So, that kind of thing can also happen. So overall, you can, argue in different ways. Now, these are all a little subjective, guys, right? So is that fine? Can I cut off answer number 4 as well and tell that this is also a benefit of division of labor. Yeah. Then answer number 1, right? Increased flexibility, right? Now, increased flexibility, I personally feel is not a benefit, right? Now, flexibility means you can move people from here to there, right? Now, for example, when you practice division of labor, when people become specialized. Now, let's say, okay, now think of me, will you guys? Now, I am specialized in teaching econ, right? Do you think I will be flexible? Or let's say maybe I'm working for an organization. Can the organization easily switch me and tell me from tomorrow, Arshad, you start teaching accounting? Do you think there is flexibility? Actually, no, right? Come on, I can't be teaching accounting all of a sudden tomorrow. Now, for last 5 years, I have been teaching econ. I have the material, I'm specialized there. So, my personal opinion is the first one should be the answer, right? But for some reason, the marking scheme examiner says answer number 5, right? No, it's not flexibility in the body, it's flexibility in terms of role, right? So where you can easily move from one to another. So I personally feel answer should be 1. That is not a benefit, but examiner says answer 5. So there is nothing that what I say matters. The examiner is saying 5, we'll go with that. So one way that I can argue why this is this thing is because, right? Think of this, guys. If you take a production process, right? Now, okay, let's take a car manufacturing process. So starting from the wheel, right? There is the wheel, then the tire, there is the engine, the door, right? Painting, right? The interior, right? You have all of that. Okay. Now, in division of labor, how will it work? One person will not do all of this. No? One person will not do a wheel and a tire and the engine and everything. He will only do one part of it, right? And then it will move along the production line. So now, can you tell me, is it more easier to find, or let's say training, they'll say, right? Is it easier to train a person just to get focused in one, or is it easier to train a person to know everything? What's more easier to train and what's more flexible in that context? Is it easier to train a person to be specialized in one part, or is it easier to train a person to know everything? Let's say you're the manager in a car factory. New person is joining, right? What is easier? It's easier to train the fellow on one small thing, no? You say, okay, come, right? I'm putting you in the engine section and you will train him on the engine section, right? That's more easier, no? That's more flexible, right? You don't have to, teach the person the entire thing, right? So therefore, you can say increase flexibility, right? You can argue it that way, but I don't feel it's a very valid point, right? But maybe that is what the examiner actually thought, right? So we don't know what the examiner thought, right? So maybe that's what the examiner thought. So examiner thought, okay, that way there is high flexibility. It doesn't take time to train all these people. You have to only train them in a small part. So the examiner went with this. And then the examiner said, okay, this increased income equality is not really a benefit of division of labor. So I will go with that. Is that fine, guys? It's a little bit of a tricky MCQ, right? I will also not expect all of you to get that right also, because on the day of the exam, you can't be spending hours like this, guys. You will take 2 minutes, right? This is this. You will cut it off. So that is natural, guys. You will get a few, 1 or 2, right? So how do I get the 5th one? By cutting off all the others. So we can say because of division of labor, it doesn't really help with income equality. What is income equality? Where the gap between the rich and the poor is reduced, right? So income equality means where everyone is getting a same amount of income. So just because there is division of labor, you can say that there is no real gap between the rich and poor that is reducing. So income equality is not really getting affected. So therefore, it's not a benefit. You can argue that way. Fine. Safe, confused. That's all right, right? So these are MCQ that you can, let go a little, right? But take some time and, think and, do all of that, right? It's a bit of a tricky MCQ that, that sometimes is almost little impossible to answer. Income equality, guys, again, you will study this in unit number 11 and 12. That's why I didn't go into detail. What is income equality and inequality? It's the gap between the rich and the poor. right? Now, for example, let's say the rich person is earning 500,000 and the poor person is earning 10,000. There is high income inequality, right? Inequality is high. But let's say the rich person is earning 150,000 and the poor person is earning 100,000. Now the gap is low. So now there is more equality. Right? That is what that means. So just because there is division of labor, you can't say there is income equality, right? There is no connection really. I can build a connection, but I will not try to put that and confuse you all. So therefore, we will say there is no connection between that. Okay, right. That is also done. Okay, that's the 2021 paper. Right. Inequality and inequity. Somewhat the same, not the same. Right? We'll study that in the last few units. Okay.